pleasure of working in both the world of B2C and B2B, and fundamentally, I don't think they are that different because ultimately you're talking to human beings. I think there are a few things I would highlight to help bridge both worlds. Full funnel thinking matters in both B2B and B2C. And this is usually lacking in the world of B2B because somehow B2B just tends to be more short-term led and focus more on conversion and performance activities. But actually building that top of the funnel demand is just as important in B2B as it is in B2C. Because we all know the 95-5 rule, and I think that is especially true in the world of B2B, with where the B2B categories typically have higher consideration and longer buying cycles, because you wouldn't normally need a B2B product every few days or every few weeks. So typically only 5% of your potential market would be in the market to buy at a given time. So if you only focus on that bottom of the funnel conversion activities, you would only be talking to that 5% of your customer base, ignoring the 95%. But what you really should be doing is try to balance the two. So at the same time, when you're trying to convert the 5%, you need to be warming up that 95% to make sure they know about your brand, they feel good about your brand, and they warm up to you. So when they enter the market further down the line, they will think of you first and more likely to come to you. And I think if you think your market demand as a tree, you need to be watering and growing the tree at the same time as picking the fruit of the tree. So that is definitely true in both B2B and B2C. So that's the first thing. And secondly, I think emotion matters in both worlds, and the emotional storytelling definitely works for both B2B and B2C. I think, again, this is something usually lacking more in the world of B2B, because B2B comms tend to be a lot more functional and logical. I think people just think business decision makers tend to just make logical decisions, and they forget these people are human beings too. And as human beings, we're all hugely driven by our emotion. So if you take our sector as example in commercial property, especially for SMEs, we've done a lot of research into our audience. We know that finding a home for your business is a hugely emotional journey for these SME founders and owners. And usually it's the emotional factors that would really seal the deal for them. So as a brand, why wouldn't you try to build an emotional connection with your audience? And that is why since I joined Workspace, I've always tried to dial up emotion in our comms, which has been working really well for us. And that's why we took our brand onto connected TV for the first time as well, which is the first in our sector, because there's no better channel than AV to help us do that storytelling piece and emotionally engage with our audience. And then lastly, which I think is a fundamental difference in the world of B2B, is that in B2B, there's usually a more complex buying journey and decision-making process, because you're not just talking to one person, you're usually engaging with a buying committee. So in our world, for example, even though the ultimate decision maker for office spaces would be the owners and founders, actually for small businesses, employees also play a much bigger role than people might think in influencing the ultimate decision, or at least decisions for the shortlist. So we need to be talking to both audiences. So it's really important to understand the role different people play and the different stages of your buying journey, so you can send the right message to the right people at the right time. In summary, B2B is the same human-to-human marketing, but with higher stakes and a more complex process. So it's really important to apply that full funnel thinking, the emotional rigor and creative flair from the world of B2C into a more complex buying journey in the world of B2B.